somewhere, right?
What's up, peeps?
Hi, peeps.
How you doing? I think you know this lovely woman. Her first name is The, middle name Marci, last name Locking it down.
Yeah.
I'll do it for her.
Thanks. You're doing everything for me right now, right?
She's a little off kilter these days. I gotta back it all up. The guy Ferdman, middle name Barack, for those that don't know. Anyway, what's up, guys? We're coming
in Colombia.
Colombia. Did we have coffee? We had coffee.
Yes, we did. We
had coffee.
coffee.
No cocaine yet.
Yeah.
But I'll be actively looking for it wherever I can find it. It's very good. Anyway, in other news, so hey Shana, what's going on? So the title of this is You Don't Have to Do Shit. And let me say this. So like when I met Marci, Marci is what I consider a master manifester, or an M squared, if we're being fancy with it. And Maria, you don't have to log in. You just have to come downstairs.
Maria, we're downstairs in the lobby. Where are
downstairs.
you? She's on a bus somewhere right now. I got her a driver.
Oh, she's on a bus. Okay.
I think I got her a driver to go get a bunch of stuff for tomorrow.
Fair enough. Cool.
If you're upstairs, come down.
Cool. So I love this woman.
And I love.
I think we just passed our 1-year anniversary. So happy anniversary.
So. Yeah, I think so. Happy
and
anniversary.
oh hey. From virtual life, from real life. Awesome, amazing. So, that was funny.
Yeah.
So manifesting. I'm squared that shit. And I started working with Marci kind of like November, December-ish, and really, really because I believe in the power of manifestation. I think most of us have a context for it, like the context you got from The Secret. And I think there was a lot of good points. It opened up a lot of people's eyes to the possibility of manifestation and the power of intention. And yet, I think even if you talk to the people who created that movie, they would offer that they left quite a few little tidbits out about personal healing, about personal self-worth, and different phenomenons.
To bring together manifesting.
Yeah, different phenomenology, different ontological things, different vibrational frequency things that really take something that's a little bit conceptual in the movie and make it more as a way of being and as a way of living. So, why am I saying this? Because, SatoriPrime, we've gone through a lot of shifts over the years as a company. And about 2 years ago, when we really started looking at becoming a global transformation company instead of just providing like digital products for the entrepreneurial space, which we still do through some partnerships, one of the things I had to sit and kind of come to grips with is that when I looked at the growth of my business and the correlation of the work that I had put in, I actually could not correlate the growth of my business to the work that I was doing. So basically what I'm saying is more work didn't equal more production.
Yes.
Right? It just did not. In fact, when I really looked at it, the moments where we would produce the most were usually when I was on vacation.
That's what always happens down here.
Totally.
People, had the best month ever, and we were tucked away in the jungle for 2 weeks, not doing anything.
Letting go. Yeah. And for those of you guys who travel or have traveled or even travel a lot, whatever, you kind of show up as this like better version of yourself, quote unquote, when you travel. And a lot of it is just letting go of a lot of your preconceived notions about things and kind of putting yourself back into an exploratory state. So in Kabbalah, they have this distinction where they say you're either an explorer, basically a tourist or a spy, right? So like a tourist is always exploring, is excited, kind of like that childlike state. And then we have these like moments that happen in life, and we go from being a tourist to being a spy, and now it becomes really important to know something.
Yeah.
So you create a context for life, and then you just start, finding evidence to make that story true. And most of us never actually let go of that story. Now we live in that story ongoingly. So a story I have had for a long time is I'm an immigrant. Like many of us in the States are an immigrant, right? What does an immigrant do? Work really fucking hard to really manifest things. And it's like, put everything on my back, I'll carry it, I'll grind to the bone, being tired doesn't matter, just work it out. Sacrifice. Your parents sacrifice, it's your turn to sacrifice, and incremental little shifts in your growth and development, but not like explosion.
Yeah.
So
there's always got to be some heart to it.
Yeah.
And some do to it and work to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was your old story.
And when I met
your
Marci, old story.
That was the old story.
Yeah.
The old version.
And I had been breaking down those stories for a long time, and when I met Marci, I had never met somebody who had manifested or manifest the way that she does. And that was a really big push for me into going to spend more time with her, not just like as a friend space, which we've become really good friends, but besties, #besties. And more so just to, like, you know, it's something. There's something to be said about creating a context and a container for someone showing as a teacher for you, and that's really what I wanted. So, and that's kind of the space. And for those of you guys who follow me and have been reading the things that I'm writing, which I have to tell you is not me writing at all.
So, yeah, another level coming through.
Yeah, I started
Beautiful.
really transmitting the last 1.5 to 2 years, and starting to trust that more and more to the point where it's like, even if I'm sick, my hand is just like fucking moving on its own, and it doesn't really matter. This stuff is just coming through. And what I'm noticing and what I'm wanting to give everybody is this context for magic. Because I think that we work hard thinking that working hard is what's going to create the magic in our lives.
It actually blocks it.
And it actually blocks it.
Yep.
Really well. So do you want to say why?
Yeah.
Say why you said that.
Well, you're just a magical being already. We were talking about this earlier. So, like, Guy and I, we tend to have these conversations. I don't know how long we've just been hanging out and talking for a while. It's been like a couple hours where we're talking about all of our experiences, him just down in the jungle doing iboga, what we're going to go into in the next, 10 days, 12 days with me, and that it's all about this beingness. And so we were chatting about how he was saying that, what they've come into from the beginning is like, oh, how do we do this, Mars? And I'm like, there's no how to, there's just be.
Yeah.
There's no how to, there's just be. It's been aligning to the beingness, and so that we are already magical beings. So I say it all the time. If you heard me and followed me, it's always say that, we're so attracted to superheroes because we are superhuman. It's already within us, and so that's why we see it and we are attracted to that, and it's allowing that to just be with our capacity, our ability, what we're operating out of, that we then receive it. So when you're talking about this aligning to, we can have these thoughts and these perceptions, again, even that's a to-do. I've got to do this, and we call it mental masturbation, right? We're mentally always think we got to plan it out, and doing the mental clarity versus actually the cellular clarity and the being within our body to allow us to experience it at a different degree.
100%. So I've been putting this, I was going to say to work, but to work would indicate that I'm doing stuff. I'm not doing shit. Actually, I'm in this space where I feel like I have really let go of the oars, right? And I think there's always a different level to that, right? Like, I've felt at different times in my life that I've let go of the oars, and this last month of my life has been what in the past I would have called the beyond, and now it's honestly just the default. And what I'm seeing is that we are, like Marci said, default magical beings. That's our baseline. We could all start right there. If you truly believed you were a witch or a wizard or a Jedi or a manifestor or whatever terminology works for you that makes you feel magical in your state, and you really took that on, do those being or entities really have to do anything to create and or manifest anything in their lives? And no. So I'm not going to tell you the whole details.
$250,000.
Yeah, and about 2 weeks ago, my brother and I got a message that we needed about $250,000. And in the past, how we would do this is we would mastermind ideas and kind of look at what we're doing in our business, what we could do more of, what we could do things differently, what we could do more of. And I already know that you get more, better, different, or the same results if you do that kind of stuff. So we're about 20 minutes into this whole thing, and I kind of stop my brother and I say, fuck all that, throw that plan away, I'm not doing any of that shit. And he was like, wait, what? So I was like, look, I feel we're supposed to be receiving $250,000 now, okay? I feel it. I'm like, so I'm going to request it from gods and angels and aliens and all sorts of
beings around you,
beings and energies around you that are here to support you, and we all have them, and we're all fully supported.
Yep.
I now genuinely and truly believe that there is no ground that we can hit, and you guys can look in your own life experiences, even in moments of absolute shit and turmoil, the moments of deep fear when you feel like you're just about to hit the ground. Doesn't something come in synchronicity, scoop you up and just like kind of save your ass and something magical happens.
Yep.
That I ask of a lot of people, and for those of you guys who are here too, you can validate for yourself. That is a human phenomena experience. I would imagine, at least from my point of view, it's because you are supported and guarded and protected. So it's like, what would you do? Or who would you be, rather, more succinctly, if you knew that there was no ground to hit? How would you operate? Think about that. So from that place, when I create $250,000, do I need to worry about how that shit's going to happen? No. Because all that doing is setting up preconditions for me to be disappointed and have this illusion that there's a ground that I could hit if I fuck this up and I don't do it the right way.
Yeah, well, and let's lean into that.
Let's
in the
unpack
space that when we think, so what you did in the past was, all right, we want to create $250,000. And this is where as creators, we go into the space of like, all right, well, what would that look like? How could I create that? And we think we're putting our we're mentally trying to figure it out, which is the program we've been operating out,
Yes.
right? And when we go that route, what we're actually doing is saying, I cut off all other options. I cut off all infinite possibilities the universe has to support me and send this to me in all sorts of ways by saying, it's got to look like, oh, we're going to do another mastermind. Oh, we could, add this product into our business.
Right.
And all of that is, again, it's not a feeling space. It's a thinking space. And so what we've been leaning into, obviously, is we feel it through versus think it through. Because when you feel it through, when your divine intuition, so now as you've been having this, like, I know I'm so supported, and my divine intuition just says, ooh, this is what I feel like I get to receive. And I sit with that, and I just ask for that and let that be. It can show up. So in your $250,000 story, it showed up in the craziest ways, the most amazing ways. That it literally was like, wow, I would have never known. And you didn't have to do shit.
Didn't have to do shit.
Not fucking shit.
Guys,
it's done.
like
$250,000.
Default magic.
I know.
In about 7, I don't want to tell a lie. So let's say 10 days it took for that money to come through. In circumstances that I could not have predicted, created, or anything in the world of doing. And Marci's so right. When we operate from a world of doing, it's a narrow world vision. You're taking infinite possibility and you're saying, I'll accept it one way.
Yeah, it has to show up this way, and if it doesn't, then I failed, or it's not good enough, or whatever, and we literally block all of it from happening.
Yeah, so if we're saying that letting go of control is the essence of manifestation, if most of us are in a river, and forget not giving up the oars, we're literally trying to swim upriver.
Yep.
Endlessly, and that's why you go home and you're fucking tired, because your entire life is spent in creating from doing.
AKA trying to wear a mask.
Exactly.
Trying to do instead of just be who you naturally are, being your genius, all of that is swimming upstream.
Totally. So if you choose to let go of everything, that means you're just going to float down the fucking river, and we could say that God is the riverbanks, right? The thing that's kind of directing the stream. If you were creating from that space, there's nothing to do anymore. So just
think how easy it is to flow and be like water that flows versus trying to be a rock in the stream and go upstream. And it flows you downstream, and you flow around the rocks, around the resistance, and around the things, and all of a sudden you open up into an ocean, which is receiving a whole nother level because you were just worthy of just like,
Yeah, so let's just, with the bullet points here are two major things that happened within the first week. The next day, we somehow got contacted through something with our taxes, then ended up talking to our merchant services, finding out that for almost 2 straight years our merchant had the wrong EIN number for my company, and they'd been withholding 30% of my company's profits. This is going back to the year 2015, like beginning of 2015, so for 2 years profits have not been coming into my company that I had no idea about. Just to give you an example, this number is between $80,000 and $100,000. It's being released to my company shortly. And then the other one is an investor that you could say came out of the blue, quote unquote, but not out of the blue at all, by a request. When you make a request, what you're really saying is, I'm now aligning my frequency, my feel, what we say emotional IQ. This is what we're really saying is you have a vibrational frequency, your chakras are vibrating at a certain frequency, and you're in alignment through vision and your heart. Let's say even in your
feeling,
right, in your pineal, all of it needs to align, and that vibration is now going to just immediately attract whatever that vibration attracts. And that's what it is to create without doing shit. So to date, let's say conservatively it was $80,000 from the taxes. The investor came in with $168,000. That's $248,000. I would say it's some pretty good, fucking good manifestation powers, right? And there could be more, as far as I know, over there. That happened in a week. That would have never in a million years happened if I sat there and tried to figure it out or understand. And I think this is where I want to parlay this conversation is we spend a lot of time trying to understand. And if you've ever been around kids, that's our natural state, right? Kids don't need to understand anything. They're a pure feel being, right? Yep. So when you were born, about the first 6-7 years of your life are spent in the right brain, full creative, full heart.
Finding yourself.
That's why a child can cry and then be happy in the next second because they're state changing through their emotional body. There's no need to understand why they're crying. There's no need to understand why they're happy. It's just, I'm here. At some point in time, then the left brain kicks in, let's say 7, 8 years old, logic gets in there, and the logic starts picking up on the conversations of our ancestors, the conversations of our past, and you start adopting conversations without any investigation, and you make them your own. And then you start judging through the standardization of what we call a human being today, yourself. And you look at what you've just done for the last 6-7 years, what you felt, what you've done, what you've said, what you felt, and you judge all of it, make it all wrong, and start moving away from the true essence of who you are. And then understanding and knowing becomes your primary concern in life, because that's what survival is to you, right? When instead of surviving and living in a state of survival, we can live in a state of thriving.
Well, and we lost the trust in the feeling.
Yes.
Because we, again, try to take it over with like, oh, when I felt this way and I saw this, I heard this, I was made wrong, because that's creating the mental clarity around it. The logic, which logic doesn't even really exist.
Totally.
Yeah.
Let's add some color here, guys, because let's get country with it. Sick.
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, you can.
How fun.
All right.
Look, and I'm wearing like the cowgirl hat for it too.
We just pattern interrupt you.
Yeah.
Bam.
Boom. Just like that.
Yeah. So the offer here is not about telling you what to do, because that's clearly not what this conversation is about, or having you think in any sort of way. What we're offering is opening up a pathway for you to look at and discover your own magic. Me and this lady over here, lovely lady over here, are convinced, I feel it in my bones, that we are superheroes that are not activated. And it is no one's fault, except we've adopted some very old conversations that have not served our people and our species for thousands of years, and they sure as fuck do not create personal empowerment, and they sure as fuck do not create tribe or love or connectivity
or unity consciousness
or any of that.
Which is how we rid disease, poverty consciousness, everything that is what we're negatively experiencing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's a massive opportunity that we both believe is coming over the next few years, and it's why her and I are working so diligently on unleashing these powers in ourselves.
Not really working.
Thank you.
We're focused.
We're focused, yeah. Working, I said it again. Diligently looking, let's say, for ourselves.
I would say even allowing, right?
Okay, yes.
We have a focused allowance. And the three things I'd add to everything that you're saying is like the words to really lean into this is allow, like allowing every experience. Again, like you allow, like, oh, how could this, what is there for me? Accept it. We were talking today about even finding some of our human stories coming up and a lot of the releasing that you were doing, and then how some of these human stories come up. And we were talking about my human stories that have been coming up and how I've been leaning to and embracing, wow, me as this amazingly high level conscious human being or being is awesome, is having these human thoughts and experiences, and to love and accept that, and then to embrace it. So allow, accept, and embrace. And when you do that at every level of your shadow, that is what truly releases it. That's what brings that embracing it, aligns the frequency as we're talking about it. So it's not necessarily to do, it's what shows up is there for you to allow yourself to see it, accept it, embrace it. And that is what then brings on the next greater level of understanding and the frequency that we can all come back to, unity consciousness, and come back to this place where we are magical beings, which can only happen when we each choose on bringing in that frequency more and more and more.
Yeah, so I just want to say, are you guys tracking this? Like when you hear this, does it resonate for you? And if so, like you got your little likes and hearts over there just so we can see that you guys are at least tracking this conversation. Because if not, then I would approach it in a different way for you. So just let us know real quick. And yeah, and guys, it's just something to explore for yourself. There's no right or wrong answer, and how this can come about for you. I very openly talk about plant medicines and ceremonies that I work in. If you've ever wondered why I do these experiences, it really is to just get more into the emotional frequency of things. To
the cellular
frequency. Like at that level to feel it, not just think about it, not just try to understand it or any of those things. Our mind is limited by its need for survival. And it does not care, not even a little bit, about how you feel about something. It is actually quite disconnected from that. All it cares about is if you survive this situation, it is gonna recreate it for you, because it's the best way for it to predict your survival. And it's doing a good job. You know how I know? Because you're watching this fucking video right now, right? So it's doing what it's supposed to be doing, but it doesn't give you access to the life that you want or what's available to us as beings, human beings, not human doings, that we're being doings right now, more than being beings.
That's even where lately we kept talking about, I mean, I think our last coaching call with you and your brother is we were catching how even in these experiences, these understandings, our mind, our program automatically wants to go back to, well, what do I do?
What do I do?
Mars, what do I do? And I was like, well, you're doing it again.
Yeah.
We're doing the opposite again, which is when you catch the what do I do, it's like, oh, how do I be?
Yep.
How do I be in that frequency, and how do I allow myself to operate in that gives me that exactly what you're talking about.
Absolutely. If there's anything you want to do more being.
Yeah. We're practicing being.
Do being, right?
Being is the new doing.
So, look, you don't need to take my word for this. You don't even need to understand what I'm talking about. Here's what I offer you. Run experiments. Mm-hmm. Run an experiment. Mm-hmm. Just for a week, give up doing. Mm-hmm. Go to bed every night. Meditate.
Integrate.
Quiet yourself.
Take care of yourself. Sit. Feel.
Imagine there's energies around you. Imagine how supported you are. And request out loud, audibly. Use vibration in the air.
Sound frequency and light frequency were the two first creations.
Yeah.
Yes.
So vibrate here and then vibrate here. Allow yourself to feel it. I'll give you a quick little story. I was meditating not a few months back, probably like 8 months ago. And I was looking at my business in the meditation that just came up, and I said to myself, it was around money, and I thought to myself, okay, we're doing really well. I don't feel different about money, meaning like I don't feel safer. So I'm like, okay, well, what would it take? Because I haven't defined the number in the bank account that it would take for me to feel like, oh, I'm good now, I'm safe, like we're good. So I started visualizing a lot of money, like a lot more money in my bank account, and I started being like, all right, $1 million in my bank account. If I saw that, would I feel safe? Nope. 2 million? Nope. 3 million? Nope. And I kept going. And I got all the way up to $10 million. And I stopped. And I stopped not because I felt better. It's because I didn't feel not even a fucking inch better than I did with $1 in my bank account. Okay? And there was a huge insight for me because I realized that I was waiting for a circumstance to determine my emotional state. And I was like, I don't even know what that emotional state is, to be honest. But I know that I know when I'll feel it. Kind of like y'all just know when I know that I'm in love with the one, right? I'm like, well, I'll know that I know, but I haven't defined it. So I'm sitting there going, well, what the fuck am I waiting for? Because I could be vibrating at that frequency right now if I let myself.
Yeah, if you just chose in.
And my intuition told me that if I vibrate there, that would mean the amount of money that I'm supposed to receive
shows up.
That's related to that vibrational frequency will just start happening on its own. So I started just doing that in my meditation. It's like, guys, if you're feeling closed up in love, if you're feeling closed up in communication, if you're feeling closed up around your body and your health, think about the messages that you consistently send to yourself. Most people who are ill or speak ill of their bodies have a lot of sickness.
Yep.
You're vibrating it into existence. Yep. You're feeling it into existence.
Yep.
How else would it be? So you can quiet yourself and choose the vibration, choose the languaging, and start creating alignment with mind, body, and soul about where the vibration is going to come from so you can attract it for yourself. If any of you guys have seen pictures of my brother and I, yeah, fine, it's egotistical in some ways, great. I don't see it that way. It's been an effortless motion towards just having like the body of dreams. It's just aligning vibrational frequencies all the time. Like I show my body love. Like I look at my knees and I say, fucking, I love you so much. Thank you for carrying me tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of miles. Thank you, heart, for beating all the time. You know, like doing all this work that's unconscious, but like bringing that awareness so that you can tell it how you want it to vibrate. You can talk to your DNA. You can talk to your cells. You can talk to your organs. These are all living entities. If you think like your body has 37.2 trillion
plus
cells in your body, that's more stars than are in our fucking galaxy. And if this is the micro and that's the macro, if we look up and we say there's entities over there that we can talk to and energies that we can communicate with, and you have more of that in your body than there is in our entire fucking galaxy.
That's what you haven't been utilizing that he's saying is how supported you are.
Yeah. Of course, you can go within and without and communicate all over the place. This body is an illusion.
It's your suit.
Right? Like there's a mind here, and what the mind really does is it moves energy.
Yep.
When you do Vipassana, this becomes super clear. It's focused energy, and matter is nothing more than energy collected in a specific location, vibrating together. Matter is not a real thing. Solid things are not a real thing. So
it's your illusion.
Absolutely. So if, of course, the thoughts and the feelings that you're having are having energy show up and matter show up in a certain way, which is why then it becomes really difficult to change the matter of your body. Because you're trying to do it on the external doing part, you're not changing anything about how you're vibrating and what the frequency that you're outputting, or requesting your body for health before you go to bed. It's like, just be healthier when you wake up. I want you to detoxify my body.
Realign every single night, every single day. I'm rebuilding new cells. Your organs are regenerating every year. So the truth is, you literally are physically even built to get younger every single day. Yet we're just told a different story, like that I get older and sicker, and life is hard, or the body is hard, etc. And all this applies in every single aspect, like he's talking about. Even like, you know, you were talking about creating $250,000 in 10 days, and it was my last experience down here in Colombia for my Badass Breakthrough event that I came out and was like, I get to receive $1 million clients. And to go from, again, if our mind tried to even comprehend or say that I you know, this is what you're gonna get and why you get this with me, it just was literally like, this is what I'm now feeling called to do. I get to receive this level of person, and within 30 days, I had my first $1 million client. Even with everyone being like, how does that work? Only Tony Robbins does that. This is what we're talking about when you'll embrace the being, when you'll embrace allowance and acceptance and embracing like what feels good, and knowing that just by speaking it, because I came out and I was like, speak it, speak it, speak it.
Yep.
And I got to, the key connection was I got to feel it. Because even when people said, what, you really, you're gonna do that? That's like, the only person I know that charges that amount is Tony Robbins. I was like, and what did I say?
And now Marci Lock does.
And I'm Marci Lock, bitches.
Yeah.
Like, and I do it too. And I knew it at the core of my being from that experience. It was like, yep. And these are the experiences, if you go back and watch any videos, Guy and I have done a couple videos together where we just talk and unleash on our plant-based experiences, and we're obviously down here to do a lot of fun stuff that will open us even more to receiving the blueprints and the understandings and activating the DNA, the stuff that I just did in Europe. It's like opening up parts of my brain and feeling different frequencies and vibrations that there are no words for. There really are no words for. And, you know, so if anything, it's like you said, test it at even a small level of how can I actually surrender to just go, this is what I want, and communicate that, knowing that we have all of this around us available, and see what shows up from that.
Yes.
And it's so, the synchronicities show up in a line, you know, that just, there's nothing else to do. There's nothing else to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would just offer, it's great to start getting conscious, because your language is a clue as to what's vibrating on the inside. And we were just talking about this, like, we use language like, oh, that's crazy that happened, or that's unbelievable, or wow, what was that coincidence, and da-da-da-da-da. And if you're saying like your default state is magic, all that stuff flies in the face of it.
We're like, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's like, oh, every time you're saying that, you're saying this is beyond and above what I believe is possible for me. That's really what that language is doing.
Yeah.
So, and you're connecting that to the vibrational frequency of your body. That's the programming you're putting in.
Yeah.
Stop using that language. Start using things like, this is amazing, and of course this is going to happen to me. Of course I get to receive this right now, right?
Yeah.
And then just watch how little by little it chips away at this old programming, and you're going to start watching these things happen in your life that are beyond your imagination. So when I create now, I think to myself, what's the best case scenario I can imagine? And then I go, I want better. Beyond that, something like this or better, because it's just, your brain is so limited. It is so held back by all the old fucking conversations and programming that have been just beaten into you. And it's your, I wrote this recently, I said, it's nobody's fault what programming they have. It is your responsibility, though, if you choose to keep it.
Yep.
And it's fine if that's the choice.
It's what you learn.
Yeah.
It's not who you are. It's what you learn.
Absolutely, and it's fine if that's the choice you're making.
Maria, it's fun commenting on it here from upstairs.
And
you, babes.
yeah, and it's fine if that's the choice that you're making as far as the experience that you want to have. And if it's not the experience that you want to have, guys, responsibility for that is the key to it.
Mm-hmm.
And
somebody had asked though. They said, "How do I surrender?" Because I find myself losing myself. Right.
That's exactly what I wanted to say to Alice as the comment.
I was feeling
Perfect.
like we get to go into that, and that if you've ever, you know, because there's this place even where you're talking about languaging. We can talk about languaging all day long, and this is the very surface level stuff.
Yes.
Even if you catch the languaging and you're saying the right languaging, a lot of people use conscious languaging and they still don't have a result to something different because the feelings don't align to it. So part of the surrender is when you just say, this is what I want, like this is what I'm declaring. You change it up again, pattern interrupt.
Boom.
We're going funk style now, right?
Get the funk.
It. Yeah, I mean, all this color down here.
Well, if we're going to be aliens, we might as well
right?
be purple.
I mean, hey, we are. If we're going to be, we are. We already know we are.
Yeah.
So it's when you set a declaration or an intention to something, and then you release the attachment or expectation. It means, so, instead of us saying, I have to get it this way, or like we talked about a little bit earlier, or this would mean I'm a success, it's like, you know what? I surrender to what this is in front of me. This is what I would love to create. Like he's like, $250,000. I'm being told, just like I get to now work with highest level influencers that are game changers in the world at $1 million level, because those are the ones that are shifting, some conscious creation that I get to guide, right? So instead of but I'm not attached to it. I don't have an expectation. I'm not attached. See how this shows up. There was no doing about it. So part of that is like set your intention, and that surrender means you surrender and allow to how it gets to show up. Now, when the feelings come up inside you, now say for instance, if Guy says, where he was talking about the story before of setting different levels of money and income, and he's like, all right, if I have $5 million in the bank, how do I feel? And his body told him, you still don't trust it, you still don't believe it, which gave him the level of insight to go, it's not about the money anyways. And there's some interesting things there about receiving, allowing myself to be in the receive, allowing myself to actually experience what I want, to be in the feeling of it. So the feeling will tell you. So if it is light in your body, it is truth. If it is heavy in your body, it is a lie, and it will limit you. Yep. Lies will always limit you, and they always feel heavy. Truth always feels light. So when you go into this, like this feeling, if the feeling doesn't match, and I have a coaching in one of my programs called Unconscious Commitments, and we were actually just talking about this on my mastermind, is that the girl was recognizing where she had an unconscious commitment with money to stay mediocre and to sabotage, and it would always be up and down or just barely having enough. And when we lean into it, it's like, so you could create a new conscious commitment and say, all right, so my new conscious commitment is that, I'm worthy to receive, or my new conscious commitment is that I trust myself. Yet when the body says, I don't even trust that and believe that, you're not there yet. There's the inner, this is where we talk about what you would have called as work, but there's the inner allowance, acceptance, and embracing to see what is there, what stories have been there. And this is the only part where the mind really comes in. So when on this level now, everyone's like mindset, right?
Yeah.
I was there in the past where it's like, mindset's the most important thing. Yeah. Now we're in this place where like, mindset is scratching the surface. Mindset is not going to give you the alignment and the frequency and the vibration and the receiving, because mindset is actually, it can be seen as anything based on your perception. It's like intolerance is just a slanted perception of logic. If I see it this way, I have intolerance for those kind of people because this is my perception. But for that kind of person, it's true for them because that's their perception. You see why logic makes no sense? So if logic makes no sense and anything and everything is true based on your logical understanding of what you choose to see it through, that would mean that there is no grounds to logic. That's why all this mindset stuff is just barely an inkling. The only mindset that becomes involved is it's just giving you the direction to get clear within your feeling body. Because the mental memory, or I'll say this, the cellular memory is 500,000 times stronger than the mental memory. This is why we go do these experiences, because it cleans out at the cellular level. When you come out and you know this, like I came out of the jungle last time, I was like, I know the being that I am. I felt it at a cellular level, the light being that I am only clear light, that I am way bigger than the suit. That's the vibration I'm operating at, that I feel at. Then when I set that intention, like I get to receive $1 million clients, and I let go. And what's interesting, I'll dive into this a little bit more on that question, the surrender, is all of a sudden when I had this intention, just like your $1 million or the $250,000 showed up, right? I come back and it was like there was nothing for me to do. I didn't do a business strategy. I just declared it and felt it. And I literally just knew I was going to receive it. All of a sudden, I got invited to go do dinner with the Rockefellers. I got invited to, go to these high-level things where, like, really high-level influencers around the world at that level were there. And I was like, And I literally felt this. I got asked to speak in Texas, and something was like, yep, your client's there. One of your clients is there. I had a connection with these people, and I knew, I was like, that's one of my clients. And something told me there's nothing to do. I didn't come at them. I didn't try to create a networking connection. I just was myself. And this was, within a week of when I came out of the jungle. Within 3 weeks, they messaged me out of the blue and said, I got to work with you. And that's why I say I didn't actually, even in that experience, have to create anything. I just knew the feeling was there, and it was like, it will come about perfectly. Like, we have an amazing divine connection, right? And it's like, everything's showing up. We're like, that's why we felt that. It all just came about through that feeling. So that's kind of a little tidbit around that, like, you set the intention, but then you get to surrender to where the blocks and the things want to come up from within you that you feel into. And by then asking the questions, which is the only mindset involved, you're creating more clarity to love it, to accept it, to embrace it, to accept all things, because love is the acceptance of all things. Love is acceptance of the pain, it's acceptance of the dark, it's acceptance of the stories, it's acceptance of even our human brain thoughts that we're having, to then go, how do I now, when I accept it, I actually see it out of love. And when I was in Colombia, I think it was the first time I was down here, I saw the little girl that held shame in her body from a 4-year-old, being a 4-year-old, that literally was like already, you say pre-7, all these things happening, I was already ashamed of who I was.
Yeah.
I already didn't love who I was. And when I saw that through the eyes of love, oh my God, I embraced that little girl and loved that little girl and was like, she felt shame and sweetheart, and she was so cute and precious. And all of a sudden I loved the story of the shame that it gave me, that it allowed me to become who I am, that had those blocks and those painful stories, to then embrace the shame, to then the shame dissipated. And now the shame no longer exists.
Beautiful. So, wow. Yeah, guys, I invite you to explore the strange and the weird.
Yes, please, the magical.
The things that have been painted with dark brushes, the mystical, the witchcraft, all this stuff is to keep you away from really the magical essence of what you are,
natural.
Who you are, the natural. Yeah, the magical is really the natural. Interestingly enough, I think magic is common sense. And we just don't actually have a lot of common sense. So we don't have a lot of magic right now. And there's a huge opportunity to shift it. And even more than that, everybody at some level is psychic, empathetic. You've all had intuitive pulls to go do something at some point in time, and you're like,
or get a
wow,
hold of somebody.
I can't believe that showed up. Yeah, exactly. Like, that showed up. Or like, moments where you're like, what a coincidence. I can't believe that happened. It's not a coincidence. There was some
accept it.
An energistic pull over there to happen.
Yeah.
So if you get like a little message, you're like, you think about somebody that you haven't thought about in a while, or you're like, I'm like feeling sadness. Is this my sadness? Is somebody else's sadness? Like, and you get a name in your head. Go and test it. Call that person and be like, hey, are you okay? Find out. Because I think the best way, or one of the ways to activate all this, is to train the mind.
To embrace it
as
the experience.
Yeah, exactly.
You acknowledge the experience.
Because this is like the stop sign, right? Yeah. It's the blocker. It's the fucking bouncer.
If I do that, they might think I'm weird,
right.
Or rejection, or what would they think? That's your human brain.
Totally. It's the bouncer at the club, right? Not letting things through.
Yeah.
So when I was 19 and I started doing personal development work, and they told me about the little voice in my head, and I was like, what fucking little voice in my head? And I started observing that voice. It became really clear to me that the future I was having, or what I was living into, was predicated on what I was listening to in this voice, acknowledging it like those are my thoughts. Now, where I went wrong is I took my ego and I made it into an enemy. And I started saying, well, you fucked everything up. I'm suicidal, angry, and depressed because of you, so you go into the fucking box, you go away.
Shut you out.
And I've had to completely come back around on that and not destroy that thing, which is what we normally do, is try to destroy our anger, try to destroy the negativity. All that stuff can be transmuted with love. All of it.
Well, and it never is destroyed.
Exactly.
That's the doing, again, that's the fight, that's the masculine, instead of the receiving, which is allow the anger. What's the anger about? How can I embrace the anger and accept the anger, which then transmutes it?
Absolutely. Yeah, so it's like everything about you is a relationship. Your relationship to yourself, to your health, to your finances, to your spirituality, just relationships. So like you have a relationship to your anger, you have a relationship to your finances, and all those relationships that aren't working well, they're unhealthy relationships. They're things that you're incomplete about, right? So here's what I wanted to say is, at that time, if you would have told me that one day this voice in my head would not be saying negative things, it would give me positive feedback, I would have called you a liar. Because in my consciousness, doesn't matter, I did conscious languaging work for 10 straight years. That shit never went positive. When I started going into my body and building those relationships with my anger, which always had me, I never had it. Today, my experience with anger is so different. In fact, it's like functional when I let it out. It's amazing how it's a tool for me these days.
Serves you.
It serves me.
All emotions serve you.
All of
That's
them.
the point.
It's just emotional feedback. And anyway, it's all just a fucking sensation. What feels like love in her body is not what feels like love in my body. At some point, she had a sensation. Somebody called that love, and she went, I agree, that's love. And ever since then, that sensation has been programmed in as love. For all we know, how hate feels in my body is how love feels in her body. It's just a fucking sensation. That's all it is.
And the story you created
And the
around
story that you generate around it. My point is that for the first time in my life, this year I had to like step back and be like, is my little voice giving me positive feedback? I'm like, it is. It is. This is like blew my fucking mind because my mind didn't think my mind could do that.
It expanded your fucking.
Yeah, exactly. Expanded my mind. So it's all of this, guys, is possible. I really invite you to not just take this. Really, don't listen to me and her and be like, oh, they must know what they're talking about. They're manifesting, blah, blah, blah. Fuck that. That's stupid to do it that way. Because you need to trust in inside of your own relationship.
Anyways.
Yeah,
Yep.
you gotta trust in your own experience. Doesn't matter who the fuck your guru is or who you listen to or who you're getting advice from or who's mentoring you. Fine, that stuff is usable as opening up pathways for you. But that's all we're here to do. A teacher, if you have somebody and they're telling you how to think or what to see, they are not a teacher. A teacher shows you where to look so that you can find your own truth. Know this to be true. Otherwise, that person is unfortunately controlling and manipulating you. And even though it might seem...
And it might have been their path, but it doesn't mean it's your path.
Exactly.
That's why, and we were talking about this earlier, that it coming from you and inside you, your own psyche, is the greatest message you can ever align to and how you can receive it than it coming from a source outside of you. And that's this pathway to then trusting, where now your inside psyche is aligned, where it's like, yeah, of course I'm magical and I'm awesome and I'm amazing and there's all this that I get to receive now because I know this to be true. For yourself. I wasn't being like, guy, come on, I promise you, you're awesome.
Just do it. Just do it.
Because you believe 80% of what you tell yourself, but
Totally.
only 20% of what you hear from somebody else. So even if I'm like, you're awesome, you're awesome, you're awesome, you're awesome, I'm your biggest cheerleader. If you don't believe you're awesome, that's why the shit keeps showing up. You get to shift that for yourself, and that's what we're saying. Take responsibility for yourself and the life experience that you want, and just try it a different way. Like you said, try it a different way.
Yeah. We invite you to allow yourself to come out of the jail cell.
Yes.
To unshackle yourself. To know that you're worthy and accepted right now. Not because something has to happen. Not because somebody has to provide you with the proof. It's a choice.
Because you're a magical fucking being.
Yeah, be a fucking pixie.
37.2 unique cells, your own voice box, your own fingerprints, your own toe prints. My God.
Find that fucking truth, my friends.
Yes.
Find that truth. Default to magic. Play with it. Seriously, play with it like a toy. Play with it like a kid who just got a new fucking iPad and you're going to download all sorts of applications, and these applications are called Manifesting Magic in My Motherfucking Life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And go and just look for yourself what you see, observe, and let go of your need to understand. It is such an addiction of mental masturbation that we do every day because of the mind's need to find homeostasis and protect itself in the known. I don't know about you guys, the joy and the beauty and gorgeousness that happens in my life has never come from understanding. Ever. Like, think about the moment you saw a big kid when you were a little kid and you saw a big kid on a bicycle and you're like, oh God, I want to ride that fucking bike too. Right? And that big kid could explain to you the physics of that bike. You could see that bike going down the street. You could understand everything there is to understand scientifically about that bike. That understanding does not lead to the joy that one attains when one gets on a bicycle and achieves balance for a first time. That becomes a vibrational frequency in your body that never goes away.
You know how to operate.
Ever. And think about how much joy and freedom entered your life when that balance was found. And there are varying degrees of that throughout your life, of different experiences that you can give yourself to gain balance. It is why I go to do plant medicines, because it helps me move into different areas of balance that I'm like, wow, how did I not see this before, right?
Because I hadn't felt it before and remembered it because of my own mind blocking me with the stories and shutting down that DNA.
Absolutely. So we could say just like a bicycle is a type of vehicle that provides a pathway for an experience that creates balance in your life, this too is a vehicle that can give you pathways to experiences that can cause balance in your life. And balance can never be unlearned. Balance can never be unlearned.
Becomes your new norm.
It is with you forever.
Yep.
And their magic is a different form of balance. Manifestation is a different form of balance. Surrender is a different form of balance. trusting in God is a different form of balance.
And all the beings around you that are here to surround you.
So play, my friends. Fun, play, and ease is our natural state. I don't know who created work. I don't know who created 9 to 5.
Yep.
I don't know why Rockefeller created the fucking school system the way it is, to take beings that want to be in motion all the time and make them fucking sit down. I don't know why they're putting fluoride in your water to close your pineal gland and make you apathetic. I don't give a fuck why all that's happening. I'm not even angry. But become aware and understand that there is all this fucking beauty waiting to shoot like lasers out of every orifice of your body so that you can be this unbelievable creature, and that shit is up to you. And we are here to invite you to hold your fucking hand and be like, come play, baby.
Yeah.
We're about to transition.
Yeah.
And we invite you to come be part of that transition. Anything else?
No, I love it.
We love you guys.
Walking it down from Columbia. We're going to go play.
We have a whole bunch of fun things coming up. We'll report on them. Have a wonderful day. We love you so much. Bye, everybody.